So insurance in the state of Florida has definitely been all over the news here in recent years. We've had a couple of hurricanes here in the last 3 or 4 years, and insurance rates are definitely more expensive than they were a few years ago. I would venture to say that most things are a little bit more expensive now than they were a few years ago, but I'm finding a lot of the folks that are moving to Southwest Florida from out of state, sometimes they got an unrealistic expectation of exactly how expensive insurance is going to be down here, and depending on the property, insurance might be a little bit less expensive than you might imagine. And so I'm going to show you a few different properties in today's video, some real world examples of properties that are available right now in a few different categories. And I'm going to tell you exactly what the owners are paying for both homeowners insurance and flood insurance for these properties. And you might be surprised. You know, there's a few things that goes into whether or not an insurance policy is expensive or inexpensive, and I'll kind of break that down for you. But if you're not familiar with this channel or who I am, my name is Dustin Guthrie. I'm a longtime resident of Southwest Florida and Cape Coral. I've been a full-time real estate broker here in Cape Coral for almost 20 years now, and I do a video like this every single week on this channel where I just try to give you a lot of really good, useful information, especially if you're somebody that's maybe considering a move to Cape Coral, or maybe you're moving to Fort Myers or moving to Punta Gorda, or even if you live here now and you just want to keep up to date on all the latest and greatest information. I think you'll get a lot of use out of these videos. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed yet. I would love to have you around here every week. I just try to create a lot of value for the folks that watch this channel, because I figure if I can do that, then odds are when the time does come and you do need a realtor, if you're buying or selling a property here anywhere in Southwest Florida, you'll remember me and reach out. And of course, my contact information is right there on the screen. It's also down in the description of this video, and you can call, text, or email me anytime. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear about your real estate goals and tell you how I can help you out with that. So with all that out of the way, let's get into this video. I got a little bit of a tight schedule today, so we're only going to visit 3 different properties, but we're going to see these 3 different categories of homes, and I'm going to give you kind of a breakdown of what the insurance looks like on these properties. And like I said, maybe you'll be surprised at either how expensive or how inexpensive it is, depending on your point of view. But let's get right into it. Okay, so we're going to go to 3 different homes today. I'm going to give you the breakdown of the insurance rates on each one of them. When we're talking about insurance, we're really talking about 2 different types. We're talking about homeowners insurance, which covers your windstorm protection, all your hurricane damage, anything like that, fire, theft, is usually covered under your homeowners insurance policy. And then there's a separate policy, usually for homes that are in the special flood hazard area for flood insurance. And typically the homes in that AE special flood hazard area here in Southwest Florida are covered by a FEMA policy. It's the National Flood Insurance Program. Those are the cheapest flood insurance policy that we have. And there's not really much you can do to change your flood insurance amount. You know, it typically just goes by the area and usually the age of the home. But your homeowner's insurance is largely driven by how much windstorm protection you have. So if you've got hurricane impact windows and doors, if you've got shutters and things like that, that's very helpful, and that's going to get you some discounts on your homeowner's insurance. Also, the functional age of the roof. If you've got a brand new metal roof, you're going to pay a little bit less in homeowner's insurance than you will if you've got a 20-year-old shingle roof, things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it. Certainly, you know, if you've got a big claims history, you're also going to pay a little bit more for homeowner's insurance. So there's a lot that goes into it, and that's one of the reasons that I always, when I'm working with buyer clients, I'm always checking the insurance rates during our inspection period, just to make sure that we're not getting into something that's way more expensive than we're anticipating. So that's very important. But let's go ahead and start with this first property. We're heading up to the northwest section of Cape Coral, and we're going to see a home that's not very old, but it's at a really low price point, just under $290,000. Let's check this place out.
Our first home is in a favorite area of mine in the northwest section of Cape Coral, in a really great and quiet neighborhood. By the way, I'm going to put a link to all of the listing reports for these properties down in the description of this video, so if you'd like to learn more about them, go down there and click on that. This home has 3 bedrooms, plus a den or an office, and 2 full bathrooms. It's only 8 years old and has just under 1,800 square feet of living area inside, and it's currently listed at $289,900. This place is move-in ready, and it has a really nice modern floor plan with a central great room and sort of an open concept kitchen. It's a split bedroom floor plan, so the primary suite is on one side of the house and then the guest wing is on the other side of the house. This home doesn't have a pool, but there's certainly plenty of room in the back to put a big one on, and there's already an under truss shaded screen lanai that can of course be added onto.
So I definitely wanted to include a starter home that could be considered a starter home that's under $300,000 price range. And normally when we're talking under $300,000, especially if you're looking in the southeast or the southwest, those properties are usually older homes. They're maybe built in the 60s or 70s, maybe 80s. And so generally speaking, they don't always have very much windstorm protection, and they're generally built to lower elevation standards versus the new construction properties. But we're up here in the northwest. We are in the flood zone up here, but we're right across the street from the Spreader Canal in a really nice Gulf access neighborhood. So there's multi-million-dollar homes around here. And this home was built in 2017, and it's listed at $289,000, $289,900. So we're under $290,000, and the insurance rates here are relatively inexpensive. The seller right now for homeowners insurance, because again, you do have some of the windstorm protection in the form of metal paneled shutters, the garage door is wind rated, you're built up to a little bit higher elevation standards, the roof is a little bit newer considering the home is only 8 years old, and the seller's homeowners insurance bill every year is about $1,335 a year, which is very inexpensive. And if you're talking about flood insurance, the flood insurance at this house is just a little bit over $1,500 a year. So you're talking under $3,000 a year for your total insurance bill at this home that's listed under $290,000. That's only 8 years old. So this is definitely something, if you're looking at that affordability, if you're looking at a home that's maybe $300,000 or $290,000 like this one, maybe look at something in the northwest or the northeast that's maybe a little bit newer. Yeah, you got to be on well and septic systems for a while. But if you can look up here in the northeast or the northwest and find something that was built a little bit newer, and versus in the southeast or the southwest for the same price point that was 60s and 70s, your affordability is going to be much better at a newer construction property, because again, it's especially if they've been built since 2003, they have at least some form of windstorm protection in the form of either impact doors and windows or the metal panel shutters like this home. So under $3,000 a year for insurance at this $290,000 home is very, very good here in the northwest section of Cape Coral.
So again, a very nice house at this price point, and largely because it's a newer property, the insurance is very affordable versus an older home that's a similar size and location. And that's what we're going to take a look at next. This next one is actually a direct Gulf access home that's available right now in the southeast section of Cape Coral. This home is also a 3-bedroom, 2 full bath home, but this one has just under 2,300 square feet of living area inside. It was built in 1981, so it's almost 30 years older than that last house. But this one is on a direct sailboat Gulf access canal with just a few minutes to open water, and it's currently listed at just under $500,000. The home is nice and clean on the inside with a lot of updated features. It has a little bit of an older floor plan, including sort of a sunken living room, and the bedrooms are all on one side of the home. But there's also a lot to like about this house. It has plenty of space, number one, and the kitchen is quite large and somewhat recently updated. And then it also has this nice back living room space with wood beams on the ceiling and a fireplace, which is not something you see as often with the new homes. Once again, there's not a pool at this property, but certainly one could be added on in the future. It does have a nice larger screen lanai overlooking the water, and then of course the main value of this home is the direct Gulf access canal that it's on. And again, we're only a few minutes out to open water by boat from this location.
So this is a direct Gulf access home that we have listed, our company has listed here in the southeast section of Cape Coral. And this home's just a little bit older. It's like most of the homes in the southeast, especially the ones on Gulf access canals. They're just a little bit older. This area of the city was the first area to be developed starting in the late 50s and early 60s. and that development has kind of sprawled out from this southeast location. So a lot of these homes are older. This one was built in 1981, but I wanted to come over here and show you this particular property because this house is listed for under $500,000, $499,900. And I think there's a stigma out there that these older homes, particularly in the flood zone on these direct Gulf access locations, come along with really expensive insurance policies. And this particular one has had some windstorm upgrades done to it that's really knocked that homeowner's insurance bill down a fair amount. So they put some new hurricane impact windows and doors in here. In fact, I think the only windows that are not hurricane impact are these sliders behind me, and those are still protected with roll down hurricane shutters. So you're getting, or the homeowner is getting a fair amount of discounts on their homeowner's insurance. In addition to that, there's a newer metal roof on this house. So again, you're getting some discounted discounts on your homeowner's insurance for things like that. And this particular seller is paying just over $5,000. I think it's $5,039 per year for homeowner's insurance. And I really think it would be fairly less than that if this seller had not had a previous claims history from when they put that roof on, likely after Hurricane Ian. So if you do have a claims history, you're going to be experiencing some little bit higher insurance rates. If you're somebody that's coming into the area and maybe you've never gone through a hurricane, you've never had to file a claim on your homeowner's insurance policy, you're going to get a little bit, you're going to experience a little bit of a discount on your rates. So a little bit over $5,000 for a direct Gulf access home. That's not terribly bad. If it didn't have those windstorm protections, that would be considerably more, maybe $6,000 or $7,000 a year for this particular seller. Now, this is in the flood zone. It is a direct Gulf access house, so there's only 5 minutes away to open water. We're in the flood zone right here. And this particular seller has chosen not to carry flood insurance, which we're seeing that happen a little more often for homes like this, older homes in the flood zone where the seller, where the owner owns the house without a mortgage. If you get a mortgage, you've got to have flood insurance. But I would guess if I had to go out and get a brand new insurance policy, flood insurance policy on this particular property, it would run anywhere from probably $3,500 a year on the low side, all the way up to $5,000 or so per year. And that's for the maximum $250,000 in coverage for flood insurance here for these FEMA policies. So flood insurance, especially for these older homes in the flood zone, is going to be a little more expensive at houses like this, and there's really nothing that you can do about that aside from maybe lifting the house up. But of course, that expense doesn't really make sense for a lot of these areas, and I think that's why you're seeing some of these older Gulf access homes be a little more discounted than some of their counterparts, their newer counterparts, maybe in the Southwest or the Northwest, that are up at a higher elevation and don't have those high flood insurance bills. And this particular property, they just reduced it under $500,000, $499,900 for this direct Gulf access house, and it's just over 2,200 square feet of living area. It doesn't have a pool, but price per square foot on that's like $219 per square foot, which is absolutely incredible for any kind of Gulf access, let alone a direct Gulf access canal. So I think they're priced really well on this particular property. But if you're getting a mortgage on this house, you can probably plan on around $10,000 per year by the time you pay for flood insurance and your homeowner's insurance. And $10,000 a year is obviously an added expense, which is why we're seeing properties like this, prices on these things discount a little bit more than some of the other categories. But $499,900 for a direct Gulf access in a really great location here in the southeast section of Cape Coral, that's definitely nothing to stick your nose up at. Even with those higher insurance rates, those prices start to look really, really good for this really top-notch Gulf access home. You could just plan on spending a little more money on these insurance bills every single year.
So the bigger takeaway that I want you to have in showing you this home is the fact that older properties are naturally going to be usually a little bit more expensive to insure. But at least for homeowners insurance, you can kind of beat down some of those higher rates if you have better wind mitigation on the home. So things like storm shutters or impact doors and windows, or if you just buy a property with a newer roof like this one has. Okay, so I wanted to show you a condo example and talk about that, and it might as well be a beautiful direct Gulf access condo, right? This is a big waterfront condo I have listed down in the southeast section of Cape Coral. It was built in the year 2000, and it has just under 1,700 square feet of living area. It's a 3-bedroom, 2 full bathroom condo, but it also comes with a 1-car garage and a private deeded boat slip with a 10,000-pound boat lift right behind the unit. So I really like this unit. It's a 2nd floor corner condo, but for those folks that don't like stairs, it does have an elevator here down the hall in the building, and it's a pretty big unit overlooking that really wide direct Gulf access canal in the back. We're only about 4 or 5 minutes from open water from right here. This unit's being sold completely turnkey furnished, and it has a lot of nice upgrades in it, like plank tile floors, quartz countertops, and newer appliances, including an in-unit laundry room. So there are 3 big bedrooms in here, but by far my favorite is the view that you get from the primary bedroom through these big bay windows looking out over that waterfront.
So I wanted to include a condo in this week's video just to tell you a little bit about condo insurance and how that all works. And there was really no better unit to include in this week's video than this direct Gulf access, beautiful 3-bedroom condo that I have listed down in the southeast section of Cape Coral. But typically speaking, you know, your condo association has an insurance policy, usually a flood insurance and a structural insurance policy, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It gets you, it just covers your structural parts of the building. So basically they're going to get you back to bare walls and bare floors. And so typically you're going to need a supplemental policy, almost like a renter's policy for your interior items, things like your belongings, things like your appliances, your fixtures, basically all your decorative items from the drywall in. And that's called an HO6 policy. And it's going to be in addition to those monthly condo fees that you're paying every month. And for this particular condo, I think this condo owner has a little bit more coverage than you would think the average condo owner has, but his HO6 policy costs roughly just under $2,500 per year. And so if you do get a mortgage on a condo, you will need to have that HO6 policy. Typically what I see for these HO6 policies, the average would probably be a little bit less than $2,000 a year. So maybe he has a little bit more coverage than average right now. But again, that's going to be in addition to your monthly condo fees that pay part of that structural insurance, but you're going to need that extra coverage to cover your interior items on condo. So that's pretty much what you can expect for condos when it comes to insurance.
Something like this is perfect for somebody that really wants that quick, direct Gulf access, but maybe is concerned about potential flooding. This puts you up nice and high, and it's still a larger 3-bedroom unit with some nice amenities, and it allows you to have that boat behind your house, all while still being well under that $500,000 price point. Something to think about.
So there you go. I hope this video was a little bit insightful for you. If it was and you got something out of it, do me a favor and hit the like button, just because it helps me out and helps this channel out. And again, if I can do anything for you regarding real estate here in Southwest Florida, whether you're buying or selling a property, I hope you'll reach out. Contact information is right there on the screen. Call, text, or email me. And it's also down in the description of this video. But thank you so much for being here. Again, I'll have another video out in just a week, so make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you in just a few days.
Like and subscribe. Just kidding.